not cheating on your wife if you eat my lemon square.
Your lemon squares taste like ass.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. It's a bonus episode, and I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and yes, we're doing a kind of end-of-year wrap-up, everyone, just to kind of, talk about things that we liked and fond memories from this year, and of course, our bloopers.
Oh my god, so many bloopers.
So many bloopers. But, yeah, Joe, another year gone by.
Let's wax nostalgic about the year that was 2022.
It's been not busy at all, super chill, super easy.
Yeah. I mean, I think for a lot of folks, this year felt like a bit of a return to normal after, quote unquote, the pandemic ended. Folks, wear a mask when you can. It's really easy. But Trace, we had some interesting horror stories this year. So why don't we start with what was happening in the world of horror this year?
Yeah, I mean, we kicked off the year with the bang, right? We had Scream come out. Actually, I'm sorry, let's bigger picture this, right? We had a lot of legacy sequels, or just sequels to big established IPs. So we kicked it off with Scream, we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre in February, we got Hellraiser, we got Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, oh boy, were people really up in arms about either defending or criticizing all of these films.
Yeah, to the point that we actually did a YouTube video talking about the kind of fandom dying on the hill, going after people, just the vitriolic response that people were having, pro or con. It just seemed so, I don't want to say ridiculous, but people were really going for each other's throats.
And everyone, you've probably heard snippets of this on our Patreon episodes if you've subscribed to our Patreon, because obviously we only covered new films on the Patreon. So if you want to hear that, please go subscribe. But yeah, I don't want to belittle or downplay the affection people have for these franchises. I mean, look, we are huge horror fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was it's that thing we're kind of seeing more of, where it's if you don't like a movie, you are personally attacking me. Or again, flip side, if you like this movie, you're not a true fan, and so you're an affront to the fandom. I think Scream got off of the easiest with this, because I think at least with that one, the general consensus was it's fine to good to great. I didn't see a lot of people that were saying oh, this is insulting to the franchise. Unlike Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, I think the closest we got, and folks, you can go and listen to our Patreon episode on Scream 2022, but it felt like people didn't like the fact that all of a sudden the franchise was being fronted by two women of color. But apart from, racist assholes, it mostly went down easy. Whereas I think all of the other IPs, Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween Ends, people felt ooh, this isn't exactly doing the thing that I love, and as a result, maybe I don't love it as much.
Yeah, and it's a thing where it's, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, again, that franchise is up and down, mostly down in quality across its, I want to say 10 entries? I own all of them, I should know this, but...
I mean, the same with Halloween, people love a couple entries, but there's a bunch of big swings and weird misses in that franchise too.
Right, but then with Hellraiser, it's okay, you have the first 2 for most people, 3 for some people, 4 for even fewer people, and then it's there hasn't been a good one of those movies since the early 90s, and so it's but with that one it was more different in the sense that it was the people that took issue with it were this isn't the Hellraiser that I like and love, because as we discussed in that episode, it was kind of downplaying the sex of it. It was doing something different with the mythology that had already been established.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if nothing else, all of these films cemented the fact that people have a lot of feelings about them, which confirms that you should continue making legacy IP, because it will get people talking. But in a lot of these cases, it did seem like people were more interested with what happens next. Did Halloween Ends effectively kill this franchise? Answer no. But, for Scream, we want to know where it's going to go next. We want to see the same with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Can they redeem themselves? Can they pull it back? And so on, which I think is interesting. It's kind of fun to see people say, this didn't hit the mark for me, but I want to know where it goes next.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing where I'm not ever going to be upset about getting new entries in franchises that I love, no matter how good or bad. But honestly, let's move on, because what was doing really well this year also was original IP horror. We had a lot of original horror films that not only were received well critically, but also made a lot of money.
Oh boy, yes, the trifecta of the fall that is Smile, Barbarian, and Terrifier 2 just raking in the dough.
Yeah, it is wild. And it's, again, it's a thing where I'm like, I will never, even if I didn't like any of these movies, which I do actually like all of them to varying degrees, but it's a thing where I'm just like, oh, I'm just so happy, you know, because we always have that question that's asked every year by someone where it's like, is horror dead? No, horror will never be dead. It will always be a moneymaker. And even in times like a pandemic where it's like, oh, like there's certain genres of movies that aren't doing well theatrically, and that's why we see them moving more so to streaming first. Not really the case with horror. I mean, we have our straight to streaming releases, but even those are of higher quality than what we would deem direct to video back in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like a lot of people are going to look back fondly on 2022 as a good year for horror, but particularly a year that, once again, confirmed if you are looking to make money, this is the genre for you. And folks, we also have episodes on all three of those titles on the Patreon, so if you want to hear us speculate about why they connect with people and make so much money, you can listen to it there.
Well, I mean, we had adaptations, like Black Phone did really well. A24, I think, is arguably getting more like well known among mainstream audiences. So like X, while X and Pearl may not have done like gangbusters business, they all did relatively well, and people were seeing them.
Yeah, and we're seeing awards chatter for Mia Goth. So
yeah,
could this finally be the year that we start to get a little bit more mainstream awards recognition? I.e., this is me plugging the fact that we have the Hereditary Awards, which have been recognizing horror films for many years. But the sad fact is that those awards exist because it's us and like Fangorious Chainsaw Awards that basically only recognize horror.
And one more thing, though, before we even move away from this, streaming things. I mean, like, look at Hulu knocked it out of the park with Prey and Hellraiser this year.
Right.
Orphan First Kill did the theaters/streaming thing on Paramount Plus. I mean, post-pandemic, we're seeing so many, like a wide variety of release strategies for films. Right. And for the most part, it seems to be doing well no matter what people do with horror movies.
I wish we were getting a bit more numbers about how some of these streaming titles were performing, but unfortunately that does lead into our kind of third and final topic for this section, which is, oh boy, Trace, that October horror glut, where yes, these films are making money, and yes, we can have some higher quality content going to streamers, but also, for the love of Christ, please do not release every single horror film in the month of October, because this year we got more than 40 films and television shows. I
mean, it is truly wild. Actually, even some things we covered when we discussed it in that YouTube episode didn't even end up coming out in October. They got postponed.
Yes, probably for their own success as opposed to detriment, but it is wild. Like, I just really wish that people would accept that horror is 365, man. Like, it doesn't need to come out in that 131-day slate.
Oh my God, I know. That was a rough... I mean, even just trying to pick things to cover for October and bleeding into November, it was really, really, really difficult for us. And again, I'm not going to complain about having too much horror, but I'm also going to complain a little bit about having too much horror.
Well, I'm going to complain when people then don't discover something that is really meaningful. Like, you and I basically went to bat for Significant Other on Paramount Plus, the Micah Monroe, Jake Lacey film, because no one was talking about it because it was released during that glut period. And it's a movie that's well worth people's time and attention. I think, too, though, the trailer for that doesn't make it look super horror-y. It more is following into that, like, thriller suspense. But I will tell y'all, I would put it in the horror block because there's some shit in that movie that is, whoo, boy. Yeah, it's sci-fi horror for sure. But yeah, like, when the horror happens, it happens. Yeah, so, I mean, hopefully we have a good 2023 because it has a lot to live up to after a stellar 2022. Indeed. But Trace, you and I also had some personal updates that happened this year. So what was 2022 like for you?
Oh, boy. Well, if y'all haven't heard it enough, I moved not across the country. I moved a few states over this year. No, my husband is getting his PhD, so it required us to move as he works in his internship. So we went from Austin, Texas, my home of 14 years, to Denver, Colorado. And this is, I am someone who has never lived outside of Texas his entire life, so I am currently getting used to snow.
Yes, you and your little doggos.
Yes, they actually, we bought them booties for the snow and we bought them sweaters, and they don't like it.
No, of course they don't.
But it would be better to have that, though, than have, like, frozen off paws and I guess their bellies would just freeze off. Yeah, that.
I mean, sure, if you can rationalize it, but as a dog, you're just like, wait, why do I have to wear this stuff?
Okay, but you haven't seen them when I walked them barefoot, and they were like freezing and shivering, and like actually one of my dogs, the smart one, realized and learned that the white stuff on the ground is cold. So as it starts to melt, he'll like hop and he'll play like hopscotch going into the patches that have already melted. My other dog, Butters, has not learned that and just walks through it all and shivers.
Oh, sweet little Butters.
But no, so that's an adjustment for me. But what about you? Because you have a bit of a life change as well coming up.
Indeed, yeah. So by the time that people are listening to this, I will have been writing and podcasting full time for a couple of weeks. So I have been working remotely for a college for the last 2.5 years. And my contract finally came to an end because I didn't want to move to where the job was. And also because it's time, Trace. Like, you and I have been doing this. We're making some okay money to the point where I can try to put my ambition where my mouth is. That's not right.
Sure.
Basically, I can try to do this a little more frequently.
I'm truly jealous. I'm not quite there yet, but that is the goal. Because listeners, think about this: the more money we make, the more time we will have to give you more content. So if you thought, well, Horror Queers doesn't really give me enough content,
yes, that.
That's how. But no, I'm really happy for you / jealous of you. But I'm excited to see what 2023 looks like for you.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's listening and you want me to write something for you, or hey, if you want Trace and I to do, a DVD audio commentary, or write like a liner jacket, something or other for like a DVD or a Blu-ray release, we're around.
Oh my God, are we done plugging things? Is it the end of our? I'm sure everyone's like, y'all, it doesn't advertise.
Like, stop congratulating yourselves. But here's the thing: we're not, because now we're going to move into talking about what the podcast did in 2022. And Trace, we had some milestones this year as well.
Yes. Oh, so yes, of course, this year we crossed 200 main feed episodes. Now, I don't want y'all to confuse that with episodes overall, because it doesn't take into account micro queers, Chucky queers, Patreon episodes, Patreon minisodes, Patreon audio commentaries. But just for our main feed, yeah, we crossed 200 episodes and celebrated by discussing one of our favorite films, Joe, The Invitation.
Oh my God, yes. Some really good conversations. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment, but some of the other things that just absolutely inflated our egos is that we managed to have conversations with not just Kevin fucking Williamson, not just Don fucking Mancini, but also drag queen royalty Jinx Monsoon.
Yeah, this was like peak of like Trace's like dreams as a teenage horror fan. Like I never thought in a million years I would get to be in the same room. I guess it's a virtual room.
Virtual,
but, like,
yes.
Talk to Kevin Williamson about secret like things from the Scream 2 and 1 and 3 and 4 that like we didn't know before. We actually got to scoop something with Kevin Williamson, which was really fun.
I could not believe it. Yeah. And even just like getting to have a sit down conversation about 30 years of Chucky history with Don Mancini. And both of these gentlemen are so giving and generous with their time and their secrets. So I was very appreciative.
Yeah, very much so. And then, of course, Jinx Monsoon having her on an episode that I hadn't seen before, which would not have been my first choice, because I was, if I meet someone, I want to impress them with my knowledge of things. And that was not the case with Elvira. But I had so much fun on that episode talking with Jinx.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then we also crossed a milestone that I don't think we ever thought we would hit. We crossed 900 patrons on our Patreon. And just to give y'all some context, when we started this podcast almost 4 years ago, we were like, oh, it would be nice to get to 500 at some point in life.
Yeah. The growth has been really incredible and also genuinely humbling because, we do one of these self-congratulatory episodes a year, in part because we want to share with you some of the things that we're really proud of, but also because I think sometimes we just have to pinch ourselves and realize, holy shit, this stuff actually happens, and it still feels like a bit of a dream.
Yes. And see, I'm getting that weird thing when we're talking about ourselves too much, but I don't care because I'm so genuinely happy for us and proud of all this work because I don't think that, I know we wanted to be in this position back in 2019, but at least on my end, I think there was always a part of me that was like, we're never going to actually get there.
Absolutely. I was like, maybe one day my parents will listen to this podcast. Folks, that goal has still not been unlocked, but I have actually met people in person who listen to the podcast, and that's a big change of pace, too.
I had someone message me on some apps and was like, oh my God, I love your podcast. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm famous.
And then the person was like, here's a picture of my penis.
Basically, yes.
Which is also something you could do with Trace.
People can send nudes anywhere. They have the capability to. Now, whether they should without asking first is another story.
Yes.
Okay, well then here, how about this, Joe? What are things we learned this year? Did things get easier or harder for either one of us?
So, in terms of creating a podcast, I feel like at this point in the game, we have a reasonably good understanding of what we're doing. Every once in a while, we get a fun little thing where it's like, can we make this sound better? Can we do things differently? But most of the time, I feel like we're on a relatively good path. And one of the things that I really enjoyed this year is you and I just kind of comfortably settling into our roles behind the scenes. So I'm very much the person who's like, I like to make lists, so I'm going to get things ready for us so that we know what we're going to talk about when we record, or what does the schedule look like for 2025? And sometimes that's good, and sometimes you're like, Jesus Christ, can you just slow it down?
Well, I was driving the other day, and I was like, I need to put this on the schedule for 2024 because it's an anniversary or something that year. And I was like, God damn it, but Joe's already fucking started the schedule.
It's true. And then, of course, I basically leave everything financial to you.
Yes, I also do the ad reads. Because I was like, I don't do like a ton when it comes to finance, I don't think. But I am a spreadsheet person. Maybe less of a list person, but I'm very much a spreadsheet person. So yes, I keep everything in track. Again, this is like kind of the boring back-end stuff that listeners don't really get to see or know or privy to because it's finances. But you know what? I'm good at it.
You are good at it, yes. I love the fact that I don't ever have to worry about that stuff because I'm just like, yeah, Trace has it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I don't have to worry about guest outreach because you have that.
It's true, yeah. I think one of the other things that we learned this year is it's always a struggle when we're putting together the mix of different films that we're going to cover and what is the order and why, and I would say that's probably the most common question that we still get is, why haven't you covered this film? Because I love it and it's important and I thought you would have. To which we say, hang tight. But also because we have a very sort of methodical way of trying to figure this out, right? We're still trying to balance women and person of color directed films. We're looking for a range of historical titles. We're looking for international films. So it's very much a process, which is why, sometimes you look at the schedule and it's like, ooh, this month's a banger. But also there's a weird title that's kind of hidden in there. And it's because we still feel like it's our mission statement to really investigate a broad range of different titles.
Yeah, to peek behind the curtain, we kind of color code things when we're putting them on the schedules to make it easier to see. So, we have new and well-known, new and obscure, old and well-known, old and obscure, and we'll go into kind of more demographic-y things like you were talking about. And when we lay out our first draft of the schedule for the next year, we then see, okay, are there any places where there are two of the same color next to each other? And that's how we try to avoid that. So, yeah, we have more of a mix. So we don't have, a whole month of obscure films or a whole month of really well-known films. We try to split that shit up to make it as exciting for us as it hopefully is for you.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes we get it a little more right than others. But maybe that's a good segue, Trace, to talk about which of the episodes did exceedingly well this year.
Yeah, so we won't give away specific numbers, but I will say that all the episodes we're about to talk about crossed a milestone of downloads for us that we hadn't hit in previous years. And, it goes to show our growth. But yeah, these were the real bangers that y'all really wanted to listen to this year.
So starting that off is our interview with Kevin Williamson. And normally these don't do as well. Like an interview with somebody is like, it's a little more niche. People want to hear us talk about something. Obviously, you folks eat up the Scream content. So yes, actually, I think our most downloaded episode of the year is that Kevin Williamson interview. And also Scream 4 performed exceedingly well.
Yes, part 1 more so than part 2. Because remember, we spent so long on that episode, we had to cut it into 2 halves. But yeah, people really went for Scream 4. Unsurprisingly, I mean, look, it was good timing, right? Because the new one was about to come out. Scream 4 has been going through kind of a renaissance of sorts, where people, especially younger generation, is really latching onto it. But those did really well. I think the Kevin Williamson too, I think that brought in a lot of new listeners. How many of them stuck around, I don't know, but I think that really helped with that too.
Yeah. And then we also got some traction with some of those legacy kind of titles. So anything to do with like a Hellraiser or a Friday the 13th or a Chucky or a Halloween also performed very well.
Very, very, very well. Although one that did really well that I didn't think was going to do that well, but because it was just a me movie, but was the 2002 live action Scooby-Doo. Did really, really good numbers. And I don't know why, unless it's just because people have really liked, people really like that movie now. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we found that when we program a film and it has something that's in the zeitgeist, so the cultural consciousness in and around that time, it does well. So it happened to be the 20th anniversary of Scooby-Doo. You know, obviously something like Halloween Kills is going to do well when we've got Halloween Ends on the tip of our tongue that week. It's also very pleasing to see that something like Suspiria with Your Darling Husband performed very well for us.
You know, I don't know if I've told him this, but his episodes, with the exception of X-Files, well. I want to believe, like it's this, I Know You Did Last Summer, and It Follows, like all did really, really, really well. And Suspiria 2018 is no exception, which, again, a little surprised by it, only because, like, I mean, I know, like, we know that movie and, like, a lot of horror fans know that movie, but, you know, it's a long one, and it's a very dense, heavy film. Go listen to the episode to see why. So I'm surprised, but very happily surprised that episode did very well.
Yes. Let's just say that I'm going to be very intrigued to see if Ari's next episode, because of course he gets a standing invite every year to come back, he has chosen a very interesting film that I feel is maybe less popular than his previous entries. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on those download numbers to see if it's an Ari thing or an Ari plus popular film title thing.
You know what, though? That movie he's picked, and sorry everyone, it's actually going to be towards the end of the year next year, so you've got to just like take that nugget of a tease and live with it. But
just wait, sit on
I
it,
have
folks.
seen more, not a ton, but I have seen more people talk about that movie recently than like in years past. So who knows?
Okay, I'm intrigued.
But yeah, of course, our episode on The Invitation did very well. 200th episode, can't get much better than that. And then our final, like, really good performing episode of the year was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, with guest star Jinx Monsoon.
Right. Yes. So we also smashed a couple of our bucket list items this year, Trace. I feel like going into next year, we're going to see more of these where we really decided we waited 5 years. We would like to talk about certain titles, but we did cross off a couple of like Jesus Christ finally titles. So what were some of yours?
So I got a couple. So one is the Scooby-Doo episode, which, don't worry, everyone, we will be doing Scooby-Doo 2. Oh, that's what it was. Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, because it turns 20 in 2024. No, that was such a fun one for me. And again, just love doing gateway horror stuff, because we so often deal with adult-oriented horror that I love doing something like this, because it's just more fun. I mean, not more fun. It just is fun.
It is fun.
So this is one I never thought we were ever going to cover, but yes, everyone, if you have been a patron this year, you will have probably noticed that we did an audio commentary on the Lizzie McGuire movie from 2003.
Oh boy.
Obviously not a horror film, but Joe got to watch it for the first time, and I got to talk about why I love that movie so fucking much. So if paying off, of course, years of references to that movie in our first 2 years of episodes, right?
Oh boy. Oh, Paolo.
Paolo Isabella. And then my last one. So again, So this is actually kind of funny because it's a movie that I actually just saw less than a year before we covered it on the podcast, but it was Perdita Durango. And this isn't a movie that I was really excited to cover because it gave me really big Freeway vibes. And listeners, if you remember Freeway, Joe had a bit of trouble with that movie. He had trouble warming to that movie, I'll say. And I knew that Perdita Durango was going to be a similar type of film. So I was just really excited because that was a film where when I saw it for the first time, I literally was like, this is a 5-star film for me. And I bought it on Amazon like before the film was even over because I was like, I love this so much.
Oh, man.
And I was really excited to get on the schedule for this year and to make you watch it. Even though, again, a little bit of struggles warming to that movie as well, but understandably so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. We never have outright bombs with each other. I think we've learned to appreciate each other's idiosyncrasies. And it's like, oh, that's just a Trace film. Or, oh, that's a Joe film. And it doesn't mean we don't like them. It just means we will never have quite the enthusiasm. I was thinking of Near Dark, where I love that movie and I finally got you to watch it. And it just didn't connect with you. And I will admit, I was really disappointed that it didn't. But at the same time, at least now you can say that you've seen it.
I have, and I watched that fucker twice.
There you go. Thankfully, I did have 2 other titles that I've been very excited to make you watch on the podcast, and they both hit a little bit better for you. So Boys in the Trees and Perfect Blue seem to go down a little bit easier.
Yes. And Perfect Blue, I know, is one that you've really, really, really been wanting to talk about for years. So, and that's one I've been wanting to see for years. So I'm glad to have an excuse. I was glad to have been given an excuse to discuss that and watch it for the first time. Boys in the Trees, I had never heard of before outside of your fleeting mentions of it in episodes past.
Why do you keep bringing this up?
I was like, what, this movie? I've never fucking heard of it. But it definitely is a winner. It's really good. Less on the horror side, more in kind of this fantasy genre, but still really worth a watch. And if y'all have not checked that movie out, would highly recommend it.
One of these days, I'm going to make you watch that coming-of-age mermaid film, too. We'll see. I know you struggle with coming-of-age ones.
That's oh my god, the blue not into the blue.
It's Blew My Mind.
Blew My Mind. That's what it is. Actually, no, that was a Fantastic Fest movie that I missed one year, and so whenever there are movies that really like seem to really hit it with audiences, and I miss it, they're always permanently ingrained in the back of my mind. It's like, right, I missed it that year at Fantastic Fest, and that is one of them. So one day,
one day.
But Joe, something we also did this year, well, not also, I mean, we've done this every year, but we have kind of set the bloody disgusting comments on fire by just asserting or insinuating that certain films have queer undertones or tones or are queer in any shape, way, or form.
Yeah. It seems like there were 2 in particular. I mean, basically anytime we do a remotely popular film, be it Scream, Batman Returns, we get let's say, some very impassioned defenses of why we are reaching and we should take our homosexual agenda elsewhere. And to those people, we say, go fuck yourself.
It's just always a weird thing. And look, I stopped replying to comments for the most part, with the exception of one of these episodes, actually. And it's just because people get so up in arms when we say anything is queer. And what's so funny is that when we mention the 2 movies we're about to discuss, you'll be like, what the fuck? But it's just a thing where it's like, I don't know. People don't understand. And by people, I mean the people that like hate on us in the bloody disgusting comments don't understand a reading of a film. Like, it doesn't mean it's set in stone. It doesn't mean the film is that. It is just we are bringing in our life experiences to make a read of a film. And everyone has a different reading. But man, people get really personally offended when we try to claim something is queer, as if it is ruining the property for them or destroying their fandom in some shape way. I don't know what it is.
I mean, yeah, it's people who have often nostalgia or some kind of personal connection to a title. And then it's also unacknowledged homophobia, because you can't possibly be telling me that this thing that I love may have a little bit of queerness to it, because I find that vaguely threatening.
Yeah, so the big one, the first one that really like blew up this year was our Tremors episode, because God forbid we try to read a platonic friendship between 2 men who don't ever like really have anything to do with the woman in the film until the very, very, very end. How dare we try to read them as queer, right?
Right, yeah. And those things that are attacking them that have, like, tentacles and all that kind of stuff. Definitely no phallic imagery there.
Media literacy, everyone. Everything's queer.
Yeah, and then the other one was a slightly more recent one, talking about Addams Family Values, which, of course, as we noted, has multiple queer figures who worked on the film in front of and behind the camera, as well as the Addams themselves as an example of a queer family. And oh boy, that one did not go down well with folks.
That was the biggest surprise to me. And it's just because it just is a huge IP, a well-known IP like the Addams Family. But at the same time, yeah, like I was go look at the Bloody Disgusting article in this movie, because I replied to some commenters and, I brought up, well, the writer's queer, which no one cared about. But yeah, it's the fact that the Addams themselves are literally queer, aka out of the norm, not the societal norm. And no one could understand how that could make for a queer reading of this film, which was so mind-boggling. At that point, I was like, okay, like, why am I even replying to these people? Like, nothing I say is going to change their mind.
Yeah, big sticking head in the sand energy from some of those comments.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Although, as of this recording, we have not released our Batman and Robin episode. And while I would argue that that's probably the queerest of all the Batman films, I'm sure we will get a lot of hate mail for that one, too.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully everybody already saw them. Well, actually, no. Hopefully no one saw them, because maybe the world has changed. But Trace, one of the other things that we like to do in addition to breaking the internet is also watch things for the first time for the podcast. I think you've caught yourself a couple times saying, oh, I had to have an excuse to watch this. But sometimes that's just what we need, especially when we don't know that we're going to love a title. So what were some of your favorite first-time watches this year? Yeah, so mine, I have two. So I've got Flesh for Frankenstein, which I don't think I ever would have watched by myself. Everyone, if you listen to the episode, you'll know that I actually seen Blood for Dracula, that film's sister film, around this, like, a year prior, because a friend showed it to me, but, like, I remember, Joe, I'll never forget, you were like, hey, there's a new Blu-ray 4K of this movie, Flesh for Frankenstein, coming out. Buy it. And it's $50. And I was like, what? Oh, yes. Stick around, folks. That shows up in the bloopers. Oh, my God. But yeah, no, but little did I know how fucking queer it was going to be. I mean, anything with Andy Warhol's name on it, right? So, right. That movie, I mean, look, by today's standards, absolutely problematic. Content warnings for many things in that film. But that was just one of those ones where I was like, oh, I'm so glad I got to watch this, or I had the opportunity to watch this, because I can't envision another point in time where I would have crossed paths with that film. Right. Yes. And the other big one for me is Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. That is a thing where, I mean, again, I don't have any, I didn't grow up with Elvira. I don't have any knowledge of her outside of just like what her general shtick is. And so I was really worried that I was going to be kind of like out of the loop watching that film. And I was so happy to be proven wrong, because that film is an absolute delight and will absolutely be in the regular rotation for my Halloween movies. Yay! Yeah, I had only a little bit more knowledge of her than you, but every time I brought it up, you were just like, oh God, I don't know anything about her. And I was just like, Trace, you don't know anything about a bunch of the movies that we cover. That's why you do deep dives. But this one in particular just seemed to make you so anxious. Well, it's because Elvira is such like, I mean, she's such an icon. But a lot of people who know her, like, know everything about her. So it was one of those ones where like the pressure was on to be like, shit, I gotta get this right. I gotta get this right. So hopefully we did. There we go. Yeah. But what about yours, Joe? Mine were ones that I had heard about, and they seemed like very me films, but I had just never gotten around to them. So I was really happy to use the excuse of having to watch them for the podcast. And those two are The Blackcoat's Daughter, which everyone had been talking their fucking asses up and down about, and I was like, oh, I'm finally going to watch this movie. Yay! And loved it. And then also Lords of Salem, which I was pretty trepidatious about because Rob Zombie and I we're hot and cold. Yep. So, I kept hearing this was the best one from people who don't like his movies. And I really wasn't sure what to make of that. So I wasn't sure if that meant I wasn't going to like it or if I would. And I ended up really appreciating it. Yeah, I think because both of those films you listed, I do love both of them, but they are also very dense films. And it's definitely things where it's like, I hope, or I think the conversations we had afterwards made you appreciate them more, because I know that on a first time watch of both of those films, you kind of walk out and you're like,
oh, what did I just watch?
What do I do with this now?
Yeah, exactly. They're sitters. They're thinkers.
Yeah, for sure. But, okay, let's pivot and talk about some episodes that we're very proud of, Trace. So let's stick with the main feed for now. What is one or two titles that you think we did a really great job with?
I feel bad because I'm just repeating things we've already said, but no, for me it is Scooby-Doo because I edited that one and we don't really splice in a lot of sound bites and music and clips and stuff, just because it takes a long time and, you know, copyright shit. But for that one, I was like, no, I'm going to do it for this one. And I had so much fun editing that episode to the point where I do think that the final result, and I'm sorry, I should give thanks to our guest on that episode, Corey McCullough, Corey, for really, really bringing the right kind of Scooby-loving energy to that. I just thought that was a real fun episode to record and also edit.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm also going to go to bat for Tremors. I love Tremors. It was a mainstay of my youth growing up, but it was kind of one of those things where going into it, I was like, what are we really like? I didn't know we were going to have that great of a conversation about Tremors outside of the typical, like, oh, I love this, I love this, I love this. And I actually thought we had a really, really good discussion about the underlying queer themes of Tremors.
Yeah, every once in a while we program something just because we think it'll be fun to have a conversation about, and we'll joke and say, oh, this episode's probably going to be about 50 minutes because it'll be, I like this, I like that, and then we're done. And yeah, sometimes a title will surprise us and we'll end up having a really fulsome conversation about it. And I agree, I think Tremors turned out really, really great.
But what about yours, Joe?
So mine did skew a little bit more towards traditionally queer, and for that reason I was actually worried that you and I wouldn't have anything new to bring to the conversation because they had been talked about so often. So I'm talking about Let the Right One In, as well as Sleepaway Camp. And folks, we haven't really been mentioning guests for the most part. We love the guests that we have on the show because they often bring so much interesting and diverse insight. I'm looking at our statistics and we managed to get 26 queer identifying people on the podcast this year, 17 women, 8 trans or non-binary identifying. I think we can do a little bit better with some of our people of color guests, but overall, I really am impressed with just the caliber of people who agree to come on the podcast and the insights that they bring. So I'll give a shout out to Chandler Bullock, who was very vulnerable in his episode on Let the Right One In. And then Ten Backy is just always a dream whenever they come on because they give us fantastic insights. And Sleepaway Camp, I think, was my most worrisome episode of the year because I was just like, what can we possibly say that's even interesting or new here? And I feel like, I don't know that we broke new ground, but I feel like it's a conversation that was worth listening to.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you. Sleepaway Camp was definitely one of those ones where I was like nervous going in because, as you said, I don't know what we're going to add to this conversation. And it was it's not even that we added to it, but more so I think that we covered many different areas of conversations that have been had about that film in the decade since its release. And, it has that transphobic legacy. So it's okay. Well, what makes it transphobic is you're valid to find it transphobic, but you're also valid to find empowerment in this film. Both things can be true at the same time. So that was one of the most nuanced discussions I think we had all year.
Right. Yeah. But not the only good ones. So we do also have a couple of episodes that we would encourage folks to check out if they may be passed over it. So here are some episodes that we think are underrated, as in they didn't get the downloads that we would have liked given how good the conversation was. So Trace, why don't you kick it off?
Yeah, so I picked 3 for this. So, we started the year doing a theme for underrated or underseen. And so we anticipated that a lot of those episodes would actually have lower downloads, just given the name of the theme. Surprisingly, a lot of them did pretty well, but one that didn't do as well as I had hoped was actually for Housebound. And that is a very, very, very funny New Zealand horror comedy. And everyone, if you are going like, what is that? What is that? The director of that is directing Megan that comes out. I'm sorry, Mithrigan that comes out next month. So if you want to get a hint of his zany brand of energy, go check out Housebound and then listen to our episode because it's really, really, really good. I will again push our Perdita Durango episode. That again, film I knew wouldn't do that well because it's a tough one. I didn't know it existed until last year. But it is on Shudder and it's streaming and it's uncut almost 2.5 hour glory.
Whew.
And again, that's a film that's a really difficult film to watch, but also sometimes really funny for really bad ways.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was a really, really, really good conversation we had with Kay Lynch about that.
Yeah, I will say, folks, I'm very much the person who's like, oh, this was hard. Like, I really struggled my way through it. It was a dream to have Kay back for that particular episode because the two of you are often really in sync in your tastes. But I will say, no, you know what? I'll leave it at that because it's just one of those things where if people find that they often gravitate towards your style or your taste in films, Trace, then they owe it to themselves to check out Perdita Durango because it is such a you film.
Yes, and what is also a me film is Nurse 3D. And
Nurse 3D.
Y'all, this movie, I mean, Joe, I know it wasn't as cuckoo bananas as you were wanting it to be, and you had some issues with, like, you know, how it was cuckoo bananas for, like, half of it, but then you had, like, everyone else in the cast playing it straight.
Yes.
It is a movie that exists. But I had so much fun talking about it with you because there's so many things to laugh about in this movie. And that didn't do as well download-wise as I had hoped because that was in our month of camp. Honestly, that month in particular, outside of Sleepaway Camp, just showed me how few, like, camp films of, like, iconic variety people have seen. And, you know, we can quibble with calling Nurse 3D an iconic camp film, but it was more recent, so I figured more people might have seen it. And I was proven wrong, and that sucks because that movie is so funny.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have some issues with the way that they structure the narrative, but I had an absolute blast at least talking about it with you. I do think that that's probably one of our funniest episodes of the year, too.
I will co-sign on that, yes. But you have picked some somewhat less funny episodes.
This is true. And it's part of the reason why I'm highlighting it is because I think they're all really good episodes about films that are just not always on people's radars. So I do tend to gravitate towards smaller films, international films, female-centric films. So the three that I have picked are The Lure with guest Jessica Scott. We talked about The Untamed, which is a Mexican sci-fi adjacent one. And then we also have We're All Going to the World's Fair, which we had Mary Beth McAndrews back on because it is sort of found footage-y. And these are all, I would say, relatively confronting films. They're two foreign films, so not in English, and also smaller titles, and also one of them is a musical. So, like, they're harder sells, but also I think all of those films are so fantastically worth checking out. And then those conversations I'm really proud of. Yeah,
I was going to say, like, these are all relatively hard sells for general audiences. You know, like, The Lure is Polish horror mermaid musical thing. I mean, I say thing because it's probably something else that could be just used to describe that film. The Untamed is definitely one of those slower burns. It's not as front-facing horror, but very, very interesting. And I think with We're All Going to the World's Fair, so again, we discussed, you know, we only cover new films on the Patreon, and then maybe we'll release them on the main feed as a bonus episode like a year or two later. We made an exception for We're All Going to the World's Fair. That was a new film, and we released an episode on it, I want to say the week after it hit streaming services.
Not even streaming, VOD. Yeah, so people actually had to pony up the dollars for it.
Yeah, so hopefully that's one that people will discover as they go along or as we get new listeners and they go through the backlog. Because, that is a really, really good and interesting conversation about a film that is doing a lot with very little.
Yeah. And it is very divisive as well. You know, I've seen a bunch of people say this movie isn't about anything and it's fucking boring. And then other people being like, this is the most important horror film of the year. Yeah. And again, that's where we're going into lived experiences, different readings. Like, there are things that I did not pick up on that movie where I have seen people talk about things. I'm like, oh shit, like, I would never have picked that up because that's just not how my brain works. It's not the life that I've lived. But I'm so happy that there are people out there, specifically those in the trans and non-binary community, who have really latched onto that film. So happy that that film even exists for them because I think they got so much out of it. And also, it's heralding a new and important voice in horror that we all need to follow. So keep an eye out for what Jane Schoenbrum is going to do. Yeah. Okay, but that's the main feed, Joe. So what about our Patreon episodes? What are things that really, like, you stuck out for you that you're really proud of that we discussed on the Patreon this year? Okay, so I've got one episode that I think we did a really good job on, and admittedly both of my picks are films that we went long on, so we had the opportunity to unpack them in a little bit more than 20 minutes. So the first one is Hellraiser, which I was really looking forward to, ended up being kind of disappointed on a first watch, and then had to reevaluate it, and the conversation with you I found really helpful in just aiding me to discover what I liked and didn't like and why I was feeling the way that I did. So for me, that episode is very self-reflexive. And then I'm also really proud of our They/Them episode. I at one point even asked you if we wanted to record a kind of separate outro later in the year, because this was kind of the other film that really caught fire this year, specifically within the queer community.
So not for good ways.
No, unfortunately, this is one that kind of turned us against each other, and there were just a lot of thoughts about whether this movie was at all successful, if it should get points for trying while not succeeding. Mm-hmm. And then some people who I think, thought that it was inconsequential. Like, what is all the fuss about? And I think our episode does a pretty good job of addressing that. I legitimately did not think people were going to have as much of an issue with the ending, and I still feel like we have not grappled with why some people are so mad at that movie. Like, I think that there's more conversation to be had about that film, even though in some ways I don't think it merits it because it's not that good a movie.
It's so funny because I remember when we recorded that episode, I was like, I think people are going to have a problem with this ending. And I think your response was maybe.
Maybe, meaning no.
Yeah, so that's I'm of two minds with the They/Them episode because, we recorded that, I want to say a month before the movie came out. So we... Mm-hmm.
It's in a vacuum.
Yes, we were not privy yet to the blow up that happened within the queer community about that movie. And on a level, I'm happy about that because I know that sometimes, at least for me especially, like whenever I take issue with some of the discourse surrounding a film, I have a habit of filling the Patreon episode with that, where I'm like, well, this is what's being lobbied against, and this is what I think about that. And some people say this, and I think
this is what Twitter is saying about it, as though Twitter is real.
Exactly. So at least I'm happy that the They/Them episode is at least giving you my honest reaction with no outside influence whatsoever. Uh-huh. However, I do have a lot of thoughts about the discourse for that movie. Not necessarily even telling anyone right or wrong, but more so like, hey, everyone, like everyone is valid in their opinions here. Mm-hmm. Don't attack each other, because that is what I saw happening, even to me, on Twitter after that movie came out.
Yeah, that was one where I really wanted people to just kind of take a step back and not think about how they were reacting to other people, but just also to sort of take stock. It seemed that a lot of people were just really shooting from the hip, like fast and loose. This is how I'm feeling the minute that I hit play. As I said, it's worth having the discussion, but I'd rather have a discussion as opposed to people saying this movie's terrible, don't even watch it, which is unfortunately what I feel like I saw a lot of people doing.
Yeah, I mean, that movie's the epitome of it is made with the best of intentions, but it just is
poorly executed. Yeah,
yeah, it's because it doesn't know what it wants to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of episodes where I talk about the reception to it most of the time, I'm really proud of our episode on The Sadness. And that's a movie that, again, it's kind of a bubble for me, right? Because I experienced a really explosive reaction to that movie when I saw it at Fantastic Fest last year.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to talk about that specific instance on our episode. So, that episode is like half us talking about the movie, but then like half of us talking about people's reactions to this film. And I was really happy with that particular conversation because, again, it's like... they're horror movies, everyone. It's a horror movie with a lot of violence, a lot of sexual assault for quote-unquote fun, I guess you could say, in that movie. Right. So it's controversial, and people have a lot of inflamed reactions to it. And I just really wanted to talk about that. So I was grateful that you gave me the platform or the opportunity to discuss that with you, because that was also your first time seeing it after hearing about this shit for a year.
Yeah, it's true. It's always really interesting when one of us gets to watch a movie well in advance of the other one. It's like, let me tell you how this went down.
God, and everyone, like, you can go hear that entire fucking story about that movie. in that minisode because there is just a lot that happened with that movie.
Yeah, it's a bit wild, folks. It was revelatory for me to listen to how it all went down. But Trace, I think you have another one that you'd like to plug.
Yes, I actually want to plug our Halloween Ends episode because I mean, look, if y'all listen to the clip on the main feed, like it's no secret, Joe and I admired that movie and found it entertaining. We found more things to like in that movie than dislike, as opposed to Halloween Kills, where we found a lot more things to dislike than like. And
correct, yes.
Again, I wouldn't even say that's a good movie, but I find it to be such a fascinating movie that made for a very fascinating discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I would compare it to our Patreon episode on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one on Netflix.
Yeah.
Except that film is not good. Like, you can unabashedly recognize that most of that film isn't really working, but you're like, oh, they're doing some weird shit. And Halloween Ends is very much in that same boat, but I would actually argue it kind of works. So it was fun to really go deep into that film, particularly when people were eating each other alive online.
Yeah, I don't think we were seeing it as bad as we were with Kills, because with Kills, we didn't know where we were going. So everyone was like, oh, if you like this, you're a bad fan. If you hate this, you're a bad fan. With this one, I think, thankfully, quote unquote, we had some of that, but it was deflected by most people being just mad at the movie and the creators. So if you were mad that someone liked this movie that you hated, you were more mad at the people that made it and released it.
Oh boy. But Trace, I feel like we've mentioned the Patreon a number of times over the course of this bonus episode. Folks, you've heard that we crossed 200 main feed episodes. We have nearly 200 Patreon episodes as well. And we recognize that it's a lot of content. People have a tendency to get a bit overwhelmed. Like, oh, well, if I want to hear a particular episode, how do I know if you've got it and at which tier? So we've included a link that'll show you all the Patreon episodes that we've done so that you can figure out what's on there and whether it's worth your time and money. But we really do encourage folks, if you're at all interested, you can pay it for 1 month and gobble up a bunch of episodes, and then you don't have to continue if you don't want to. But we do try to make the Patreon worth it to folks, which is why we proudly plug it.
Now, when you say we included the link, Joe, where did we include that link?
It's in the show notes.
And of course, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you will get a newsletter on the first of every month with that same link, just to remind you, so you can see what all we've covered, among a slew of other things, like our schedule for the month. So you get advance notice on all the things we're covering if you're a patron, and of course, you get, 200 plus hours of bonus content.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on like 220 by the end of this year.
Yeah. So again, everyone, if you don't know how Patreon works, just go to patreon.com/horrorqueers and you will see a list of tiers. Fortunately, you'll only see 3 of them because you do have to click the more button to see the remaining tiers.
Patreon, why do you make it so hard?
I always see people subscribe to the $5 tier and then literally will get an email like 2 minutes later that's like, they added their pledge to the $10 tier because they didn't see it when they went to the first page.
Yeah, it's annoying.
But yeah, no, go look at that and go show us some love and go enjoy our episodes.
There we go, yeah.
But, Joe, we don't always get everything right, and we're not always good at everything. And, we do edit this podcast a lot to cover up some of our fuck-ups, but we save them sometimes, right?
We do indeed. So, folks, we're going to do our annual tradition now where we introduce a bunch of different types of fuck-ups that we have accrued over the year. And the first one is fairly common for folks who are talking into a microphone, which is that we stumble over our words or maybe need to take it a second time or just generally fuck it up.
Yeah. But going into the crass.
I will say the mechanics of how Charlie... is it really just that if she can see it, she can set it on fire? Because I did think, okay, how and where, and I don't know. I guess I wanted just a little bit, kind of like how you, oh my God, that was rambly. So Riley's plan is that they are going to lure in a Cenobite, so they end up going after the Ace-Fix as they go after the Okay, so basically Nicholas is like, hey, don't become a nut. Oh my God. Murders are thus, in her view, simply necessary medical procedures carrying out. Murders are thus, in her view, simply necessary medical procedures carrying. Oh my God, why is that so hard to say? she is not an innocent wallflower who doesn't know what she's doing, and I think that that's one of the film's intriguing bits, not quite at the end, but sort of in their big confrontation at... And it... I'll just... What am I even trying to say?
It's one of those nights.
Yeah.
It really is.
So after the flashback, we touch base with Will as... There we go. And welcome back to Horror Queers. It's your full-length Patreon episode. Oh my god, let me try that again.
Friday.
Yep. So she says, in my opinion, the majority of contemporary films made for and about teen and adolescent... I can't speak. Sorry.
You got this.
This film doesn't exactly portray oh my god, it's me tonight, Joe.
It's fine. It'll be me in 5 minutes.
Ooh,
oh
yeah,
boy, why was that so much me?
I think I had a few in there, but yeah, no, you're really bad at that.
Shut up.
That's why I talk so fast, because if I talk so fast and I fuck up, you won't notice, because you're trying to understand what exactly it is that I'm saying.
Sure, let's go with that.
But what I am bad about this year is, oh my god. But what I am pretty bad about is just like forgetting things or having to look things up. And I will say that, I guess this is like news for me this year too, but I got my official ADHD diagnosis this year. And little did I know that ADHD contributes to some bad memory. And hopefully that's fixed later than the year. But here's some examples of us just forgetting things.
It's never really clear how much...
Yeah.
Shit, what's her name? What's her character name?
Oh my god. Melinda.
The one who initially gets his face hit against the tree and loses the arm, I definitely thought that was him.
Oh shit, okay. Honestly, I didn't even think about that. So really quickly, let me just, because I know that guy's, I know that guy. Tom.
And, yeah, we've got something a little fun, which I've completely forgotten about. I'm sorry.
Starship Troopers.
There we go. I was going to look it up and I couldn't get my computer to work, but what's the... oh, shit. It's Jessica Lange and Anthony Hopkins.
Jessica Lange and Anthony Hopkins.
Shit, I feel like I should know that right off the top of my head.
I don't know that.
Jessica Lange.
I'm looking it up, too. Titus.
There we go. I think it's a little ridiculous that... And maybe, again, it is because she's in fight or fight... Oh, I think it's a little ridiculous that, oh wow, I made it this far and now I'm forgetting names.
It's fine.
Right off the top, if you didn't think that the divided Germany parts were important, the film's telling you right from the beginning. Joe,
it's divided Berlin. Is Berlin in Germany or is Berlin its own country?
It's in Germany.
Oh, okay, never mind. I don't know. I thought Berlin was a country.
Oh my god, what is the capital of Rio, Trace?
I'm cutting that out.
Brasilia.
Also, did you guys catch Ian Abercrombie when she gets off the plane that he's standing in front of the hearse?
I don't even know Ian. Who's Ian Abercrombie?
He's General Palpatine in Star Wars.
Oh, that's him?
Yep.
Shit, Ian. That's not Ian Abercrombie. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
Trace is like, no, but Abercrombie is hot, like the pants and the shirts and the mall.
Oh my god, it's Ian McDiarmid. Oh wait, no, that's Obi-Wan. Sorry. Oh god damn it.
Bloopers.
Oh my god, wait. No, this is gonna kill me. Ian. Oh my god, it is Ian Abercrombie. What did he co-fund Abercrombie and Fitch?
No.
Oh. I'm cutting that out.
Admittedly, I checked the Wikipedia page for that purpose.
Oh my god.
Because he must be loaded now.
Fuck. So everyone, normally we have a oh my god,
production.
No, I was like, a system, a schedule. What word am I thinking of?
Outline?
I don't know.
Structure.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh my god. Thank you. But second, fuck.
The home invasion, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. God damn it, I don't know what I was going to say. I was so focused on my joke.
Well, the payoff was definitely worth it.
I thought it was really good.
It was not good. I'm not laughing.
As I said last week in our what did we call it?
Batman and Robin?
No, when we close out, what do we call that?
Outro?
Oh my god, yes. And it also introduced new characters in Pablo and oh my god.
I can't remember.
Shit. Hold on. I think it's Dana.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is really well, I don't even know what I was gonna say to that. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that link is definitely something we've talked about a lot because it's I don't have anything to add to that actually. Never mind. I think what's interesting too is that nope, I don't have I lost my thought.
It happens.
Don't cut that out. I'm cutting that out.
Yeah, I got it. And in my defense, what I'll say is that the pandemic affected my short-term memory. Yeah, let's go with that, right? Moving on.
Okay, but what you can excuse, Joe, is how you frequently mispronounce things. Now, I'm on record as saying prologue as prologue a lot, and it's probably in many episodes, but you have more struggles than I do in that department.
It's true. Let's hear a bunch of times where I simply cannot pronounce a word correctly. So at this point, we'll acknowledge that the three of us are settler colonialists, and Trace is living in what is called Denver, and this is the unceded ancestral territories of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Ara... No, I knew I was going to
it's going to be Cheyenne and Arapaho.
Thank you. So Trace is living in Denver, which is the unceded ancestral territories of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho. No,
Arapaho.
Arapaho. No. God damn it.
Arapaho.
And Arapaho peoples. So this article is in Spanish. Mexican is not a language, it's Spanish.
It is not. No, it's Spanish.
I always do this, and then I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, so let's talk about the second Santorini. Nope, still wrong.
That's Greece.
Just getting it worse now. We have sexist Shizumi. Nope. We have sexist. Oh my god. Blooper.
Got it.
We have sexist Shizumi, played by Anthony Rivera. No,
Rivera, yeah.
Vara. Sorry for the mispronunciation there. But the guy from, speaking of Marvel movies, the guy from Shang-Chi. No, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
The guy from Shang-Chi. Oh my god. Yeah, I really found that it was the most pronounced when they make their quote-unquote debut as the lure, and we see everybody kind of
uninhibited.
Thank you. We also have groundskeeper Balthazar, who is played by Mark Ashmore, and then we also have old Duke the dog.
Ashworth.
Damn it. So this is basically the end of this opening, and honestly, if we cut the film here, I think it would make an absolutely dynamic... And honestly, if we cut the film here, I think it would make an honestly... Damn it. The Hillikers... No. Hillikers? Tillikers.
Mm-hmm. No, you're
My
Hillikers,
notes
right?
are fucked up. Yeah, now that you're unpacking it and elaborating on it and pushing back gently, I can definitely see what you're saying. Because if I'm thinking about, a mix between the visual dynamic... Why do I always try to use that word? I can't pronounce it. And it's also got, like, Brianna Hildebrand from...
I think it's Hildebrand.
It is Hildebrand.
Okay.
What's his name? The last guy that she goes with, Tony, played by Finn Whitrock. actually, maybe one of the things that I'll sort of bring back quickly is I don't have a direct quote, but the article that I mentioned earlier from Prorokova, from the article I mentioned earlier from whoa, man. It's Prorokova. Okay. But before we get into this, we should acknowledge this was a patron. A letter bomb that is addressed to her explodes in the face of her agent, Mr. Tadorko. Damn it. I knew this was going to fuck me up.
Tadorko. Tadakoro.
Mr. Tadador. No.
Oh my God.
And he is played by Bruce Davidson, who I love whenever he shows up.
Davison. There's no D there.
Oh, isn't? Okay.
Yeah.
Davison. Okay. And he is played by Bruce Davison. No, Davison. Damn it. What? So we open with animated credits by painter Alexandra Walisco. Oh my God. Waliscu. Nope. It's going to be a nightmare, folks.
I don't know the best pronunciations, but I will say that their W's are V's.
Oh my God. So, of course, the older one is played by William Dafoe.
Willem.
So the older one is played by Willem Dafoe.
It's like, is it, how do you say, is it Grand Guignol? Guignol?
Grand Guignol?
Grand Guignol? Huh?
Grand Guignol?
Is that how you say it?
I have no idea.
Okay, it's like Grand Guignol. Fuck it, I'm not going to say it. So, okay. Ghostland was first shown in competition on February 3rd, 2018 at the, oh my God, Festival International du Film Fantastique de Guerre. I'm sorry.
Yo, you were so close. I was almost there.
I'm sorry. De Gerardmer. I think that's how I'm going to say it, but yikes.
Yeah, it's not great. And you know what? Sometimes I don't even get it right when I have two chances, Trace. Here's a blooper, which is just nothing but me needing 2 times to get it right. We're going to be checking out a newish, very, very newish, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're going to be checking out a very, very new film. Oh my God. We're going to be checking out a very new film called We're All Going to the World's Fair. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're not going to be gatekeepery, but no. At the same time, I feel like... how to say this?
Well,
okay. Okay, so we're not going to be gatekeepery. We're not going to be My God. Okay, so we're not going to be gatekeepery. Marta went in to try to either stop her, or she was... Marta went in to... Oh my God. Marta went in to... Nope, I'm going to not laugh when I do it.
Okay.
Well, it's telling, though, that he's also the... it's telling, though, that he's also the only... Damn it, just again. Yeah, so Will, again, excuses himself so that he can go to the kitchen and get the kitchen. All right, that was a lot of me, so I feel like now we need to pass the baton over to you.
Yes. Okay. So, if I get a fact wrong, or like, especially if it's something that's like, I guess socially related, we'll keep it in because, it's like, oh, we need to like show us learning and things like that. But sometimes I just fuck up on basic shit that I should know. So, and I tend to follow that up with an oh my God or a god damn it and then restart my sentence. So let's hear some of those. So, honestly, yeah, with those little theaters, I only went on to gross 231,000 million. Oh my God. And I'm Trace, and we're talking, do you think anyone here... God damn it. So, he, decided to establish the story... he decided to establish the... God damn it. Well, what also is stalking... I can't even... Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm off today. To increase... production, he increased he increased. If Jason's card is higher than the remaining player, oh my God. So here's the thing. So we were going to get full frontal male nudity in this scene because the shirt that Christina Oh my god. But for Dawn herself, think something like Mildred Pierce or, Cirque's Imitation of Life. Lionsgate begins seeking directors for their new product. Oh my god. For their new project. If you want even more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at Patreon. Oh my god. And maybe Roger Corman. No, wait. Is it Roger Corman? No.
William Castle?
William Castle. There we go. Oh my god. Fuck.
Do you want to take that again?
Yep. Well, and maybe, oh my god. But while Abby's performance identity at first intimate, oh god damn it. And of course for our audio commentary this year, god damn it, this year, what the fuck?
Well, if folks remember, I also have a bit of a tell, which usually we edit out, but the number of times I will just stop in the middle of a sentence and say, nope, or, ugh.
No, yeah, it's like a blah, 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 blah. It's like the Mars Attacks Martians, like,
The last Adrian Lyne film in the erotic thrillers, which is the last David... Yeah, 2019 guest representing. I feel like we had like a period where... just got all that. And welcome back to Chucky Queers. It's your weekly recap of Don Mancini's second season. Nope. You know what? We'll get it out of the way right away.
I know, it's Monday afternoon.
So looking at this from a sheer logistics perspective now. Mm-hmm. So the dinner scene I find is interesting. So this is why I can definitely see... Oh my god. Well, and Brooke is also fulfilling... Mm-hmm. Well, I'm interested too because one of the...
This show has pulled out...
And she's the one who suffered. Well, maybe, or didn't suffer, because everybody else has a more terrible fate.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Well, thankfully, my blooper sounded better than your Mars Attacks impersonation, because that hurt my ears. So one of my other tells is that I do often say that I need to take it again, or I tell you need to take it again.
Yep, and let's go to that. All right, everyone. Well, that will conclude another year of horror hereditaries, of the hereditaries. Oh my god, it's too late. So, of course, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this, and please make sure you stay tuned at the end of next year, or, I'm sorry, the end of this year, for the next round of voting for the next set of hereditaries.
Oh my god, take that again.
I know, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Oh my god. Okay. Very much so. All right, what we do in the shadows?
It's a 2. No, sorry. Yes. No,
yes, 2.
Let me try that again. This was very much the parts are better than the sum of the whole. Sorry, let me take that again. I don't know that they say women, but they basically suggest that the town is now under a curse that if you become sexually aroused... Sorry, I'm going to take that again. They do say it. So, we're going to watch Somebody's Watching Me.
Someone's watching me, yes.
Let me try it again.
Okay, but sometimes there are things that are out of our control. You live next to what seems to be an endless supply of fire trucks. I have dogs, we've got printer things, there is construction going on. So, sometimes we have to record in less than ideal circumstances, and this is what comes of that.
Indeed, and cross out horror queers. And one sec, because my computer went to sleep.
Yeah, and we should point out that Lucy Lawless is married to like one of the head honchos on Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is why she's kind of in this group.
Sure, yeah. And they were shooting. Oh my god.
Is it a vibrator?
I was worried this is going to happen. They're doing renovations in the unit above me. Oh. So this will now continue. Yeah, and they tried to make it up after the fact. Sorry.
That's okay. That must be fun for you, though. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's like this all day, every day.
God. I guess they think that you're, like, away working.
Uh-huh. I mean, they do break at about, like, 5 or 5:30. But still.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it's so generous of them.
Probably gonna make it or break it for you, but I think if you walk in knowing that, you might be more receptive of the content you're getting.
Sorry.
Oh, my God. What is that?
Apparently like a 4-alarm fire? I don't know. We're here. The time is now, right? It is Lizzie's time, is it not?
It is. And hold on, because my dog just crawled out from under the bed and I thought he was in his crate. So
okay.
I gotta get him out of this room.
Be our hero.
Okay.
Be our champion.
Oh shit, sorry, hold on.
Doggy.
Someone's knocking on my door. Let me go wake up my husband really quick, actually.
And Trace has messaged that his printer ink is cleaning, so he just needs to be silent for a second. Honestly.
But does it sound like a foghorn by any chance?
Oh my god, I wish. How great would that be?
Yeah, it's, but this is also, like, really, like, god damn it, sorry, my printer's going off. I know you can't hear it, but it will pick up. It's because I printed my notes right before we did this.
Oh boy. 2023 is hopefully the year when I will no longer be living under any of those circumstances.
Oh my god. Please. I'm glad that it's a fire station, though, because I always think that someone's getting murdered next to you.
I mean, I do live in Canada's biggest city, so there are plenty of people who die here.
Jesus. Well, okay, so how about other things that didn't fit into a neat, tidy category name, right? So here's just kind of other bits and bobs that we wanted to share for you in the bloopers. And I was like, it's $50 for this movie I've never seen. I've never heard of it. Fuck you, Joe. Go eat a dick. Wait, nope, sorry.
Try that again.
Yep.
And we're talking, this job is more than sticking thermometers in butts and looking pretty. And I'm Joe.
That was the one I picked. That's okay. It's okay. Hold on. I have the exchange. Okay. I still think it's really good, but it's definitely a narrative hurdle if you're like, let's get to the good stuff.
Keep going.
Oh, no, that was it.
Okay.
Well, before... God, this mouth thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. As well as something like Mulholland Drive, which has a very important, like, blue moment, as we talked about in our previous episode.
Sorry, I was blowing my nose. Yes. Also, hold on. I just heard a cabinet open in my kitchen, and now I'm, like, freaked out because it's not supposed to be here. Must have been above us, but it like freaked me out because the door was unlocked, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, so I just went through my entire apartment. I was like, under the bed, behind the clothes in the closet, behind the shower curtain. Like, is someone in here?
Oh, I mean, hello. Yes, you need to. You live in a major city where if you have your door open for even a millisecond, you owe it to yourself to make sure you're alone in your house.
Like, it literally sounded like he was just like he opened something like a cabinet in the kitchen and just like shut it. Like, whatever. It must have been upstairs. Anyway, okay.
Where are you guys, by the way?
I'm in Austin, Texas. Joe is in Toronto, Canada.
Oh, fantastic. I love Canada.
Toronto, Ontario. I'm sorry. Joe's probably like Trace. Ontario.
It'd be like me saying Austin, US.
Toronto, Canada.
Oh my god.
Kills me every time. And Trace, we are a queer horror podcast, so we're definitely doing our best to make sure that we're recognizing forward advances. So when it comes to things like pronouns, we want to make sure that we get it right. And sometimes we get it really fucking wrong, and you especially.
I am terrible at this. I apologize in advance.
I do really like this. I actually think this is the best that Nico does in his performance as Trevor.
In their performance.
Thank you. I think we've got bloopers just for this.
Hey, it's not just me, right? There are times, specifically it's when she's drinking blood, where her face
Say
does...
it again.
God damn it. Damn it. The thing that remake gets wrong is it's when she... Damn it.
And Ellie encourages him to hit back hard.
Oh, she's like, bitch, you gotta hit them back. Otherwise, they're gonna keep doing it.
Trace, do it again.
Oh, damn it. So this is great, though. This honestly works as a short film to me. Like, from her going into the hospital to Hakan's fall.
Sorry, do it again.
Perfect, like, little 5-minute movie.
Oh, damn it. I know. I really like Nico Tortorella. He gets a lot of flack. Like, I remember when he did that, Celebrity RuPaul's Drag Race, and a lot of people were just like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, sorry, Trace, you gotta go back. It's they.
Damn it. Fuck it. Like, I really like him. I find him very charming. Damn it! Okay. I just don't really think they're given enough good material, because the one big deleted scene that they're in that's cut out is with him and Jill in the hospital.
Them.
Damn it.
Yeah, that about covers it, I think.
That does. So, I don't know, Joe. Do we have anything to say before we wrap this up?
I mean, I would say that we have talked a lot about ourselves. Things that we're proud of, things that we're not always very good at, things that people should check out on the Patreon at patreon.com/horrorqueers. And, I guess I would love to hear from folks about what your favorite episodes are, or the conversations that were more meaningful than you expected them to be. Like, we love to hear from you folks, and sometimes we'll hear ooh, that was a great episode, but we'd love to know a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess, too, are there things that we tried out this year that you want to see more of, things that we do that we don't want to see more of? Be polite about it when you send those things.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, and I also, did we change your mind on any film? That's always something I'm really excited to hear.
That's a good one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, okay, well, I guess we'll close this out, Joe. We've spent about the past hour plus talking about ourselves, so let's get out while we're ahead.
Oh my god. Yeah, folks, you've heard us say it a bunch of times, so you know where to get content, main feed, Patreon. If you want anything else, send us an email or some kind of social media connection. Who knows what's still available at this time? Sure thing. But on that note, I think we can cross out our 2022 wrap-up / blooper reel. Indeed. And cross out Horror Queers.
Atlas Avenue, a long stretch of road that encompasses everything the city of Kennett Heights has to offer. Neon lights, traffic, crime, the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and the craziest of characters. My office was above it all. My name is James Locke, and I'm a PI.
Hello, Mr. J. How the hell you doing today?
Good, Edith. Nearly every year I have a new case. New people to meet, new clues to discover, and new problems to solve. But I do it the old-fashioned way. No technology. Nothing post-1950. Hell, I don't even listen to podcasts, but you should. Atlas Avenue Beat is a spoof of the film noir genre with goofy characters, tons of wordplay, and non-stop raunchy humor. There's also 3 whole seasons out right now with more on the way. Just search for Atlas Avenue Beat wherever you listen to podcasts or visit us online at bloody.fm.